Hello, and welcome to Confessions of a Terrible Leader, where real leaders share the raw truth about the lessons they learned the hard way, so you don't have to. Join our host, Layci Nelson, founder of Transcend Leadership Collective and former terrible leader. Every leader can become worthy of being followed if they are willing to put in the work. On this podcast, we share the messy stories and behind-the-scenes reality of what the work actually entails. We welcome you to this community of revolutionary leaders who believe honest communication, healthy conflict, and building cultures of acceptance, respect, and trust are not only possible, but non-negotiable for cultivating world-class teams. Hello, and welcome back to Confessions of a Terrible Leader. I am your host and former terrible leader, Layci Nelson. If you happen to be watching the clip of this, I'm coming at you from a little different place today. I am in Orlando, Florida with my boys as they're competing in a tech competition, the Technology Student Association. And Mary was gracious enough to hop on with me this morning as we record this, so I can share with you some developments. Mary, welcome back. Thank you, Layci. Very glad to be here. So, Layci, I have some questions for you, referencing all the exciting new things that are happening in the collective these days. And for you listeners, if you have not heard, you can go back to season 2, episode 19 to learn all about Layci's introduction to the Dr. John Reeves Agribusiness Leadership Institute. It is a really exciting new collaboration. It's going to open up so many new doors for just a lot of help, support, training, leadership, all the good things that help us grow. So, Layci, I'm just going to start with a really basic question. What is the collective and how did it come about?
I'm so glad you asked. Transcend Leadership Collective, I named it that before there was actually anyone collecting. It was just me, and the reason I gave it that name, I didn't know how it was going to unfold. I could, lie and say, I had this from the jump. I didn't. But what I did know is that what we're trying to do through our HHART-first leadership principles, through our ability to help people go to work every day and feel engaged, motivated, and inspired, and have leaders that are worthy of being followed and know how to make that happen, I did have the foresight to recognize there is no way that just me could have that level of impact that I would love to see ripple out. And in order to make that happen, there was going to need to truly be a movement. And the collective was a holding place for that. I didn't know exactly what it was going to look like, but that was the genesis of the idea. And so what the collective now is how it is forming to meet the demands and the needs of our clients, as well as to grow the capacity for the impact that we want to have. We are welcoming a group of like-minded professional trainers, instructors, many of which have their own businesses, but we are uniting under the banner of the Transcend Leadership Collective because we have this shared vision and the shared core values, the things that really matter when it comes to alignment for any sort of collective work together. We're on the same mission. We just have a little bit different flavors and skill sets for how we're going to get there. And so wanting to bring on the best of the best and the proven commodities to serve people and really bring this to life, what better way than to welcome people in that are in alignment and are excellent in their own right at delivering top shelf training and services to our clients, to the people that we really want to help get to that next level.
Yes, absolutely. And we have instructors coming from different areas of expertise, all kind of, genius in their own zones. So there can be a huge range of services offered that is really beneficial for all parties involved.
Absolutely.
So tell me, Layci, how does one become an instructor in the collective?
Well, first of all, they need to understand and be able to communicate how there's alignment between our core values, because we want it to be an absolute win for everyone involved. So if they're like, oh yeah, I am people over profit. Like I say, we don't dislike money around here. We are a for-profit organization, but we're not going to step on people and cause harm to get more money. And we're also not going to train that to any organization. And so if people are they resonate with that, if they resonate with integrity, doing the right thing, especially when it's the hard thing, if there's alignment for trainers, this is going to be really important with we have a show up and show out core value, which means that we show up for each other and we do what we say we're going to do, we follow through, and we do that for our clients with white glove service. And show out is we are excellent trainers. We meet people where they are. We're able to bend, flex where we need to flex to have the attention and meet the room, trained to facilitate the group in the way that is going to be the most beneficial. And there's a lot of skill required to be a top level facilitator. A lot of people, they don't understand what goes into it. They just know when they have a bad one, right? We've all been to a course where like, this person doesn't feel like they want to be here. It's not clear. It's like Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah.
Yep.
So none of that, so if there's alignment and you're like, oh, no, I understand that it's usually equal parts education and entertainment to really capture people.
Yeah, sure.
As well as an ability to communicate succinctly and draw your group in, right? They have to enjoy being with you,
right?
Not just tolerate being with you.
Oh, yeah.
And being able to connect to people. So if you're listening to this and you're like, that sounds like me, that's step one, right? And then making sure there's alignment there, making sure you're aligned with our mission of really wanting to help be the catalyst to give the people the skills to create these workplaces where people want to come to, where they feel like they belong, where they feel motivated, engaged, and inspired. And helping the leadership have the skills to do that. There's a lot of different skills that go into that. And so we excel at teaching people the fundamentals of healthy conflict, honest communication, and building cultures of acceptance, respect, and trust, the HHART-first leadership. That is where our expertise lies. When you think of how to help people learn how to coach, we'll go into organizations and we will build out entire leadership academies for corporations and organizations. But we'll also do the same thing on a smaller level. It doesn't have to be at the corporate level. And so that's one facet of what we do. And we actually have so much demand that Catalyst and I on our own can't cover it all. So we love to invite people in to help deliver that as well through the collective as trainers. And then there's areas that are adjacent and complementary, but they're not in our wheelhouse. However, our client may very much benefit from a person who owns a business in their own right, like an HR specialist. We're not HR.
Right.
We're HR adjacent. We share some things, but I'm not going to pretend that we're going to come in and be able to do for you what someone who's SHRM certified can. But wouldn't it be nice for our clients, if we have a client that we know that they need this service, we can build it into the contract, and then we're putting our name on these collective instructors. So these instructors, if their collective instructors want to come in, if they want to come into the fold and they've got that alignment, they would subcontract, but we do it differently. I wrote the contracts. Well, my lawyer wrote the contracts, but I put the terms of the contracts into the favor of really written from the perspective of being someone on the instructor side with a lot of intellectual property who signed so many of these and got tired of redlining them all the time for things like trying to sneak in ownership of intellectual property for whoever it was created for. And like, no, you don't get to own my stuff for a per hour fee. It's really written so it's a win for both sides of the equation. So the instructor's IP remains theirs. If they're training, if they write a course, they get paid to write the course, and then they get first right of refusal, and we have to ask permission to use it again. It's really set up in a way that benefits both parties.
Yes.
And so we're building this group, and we already have a group of 3 that are on their way in and a few hot on their heels that are like raised their hand and said, yeah, let's do this. We want to be part of this. And the first 3 had been working with John and Dana. Listen to that episode and you'll get the context for this, but they had been working with John and Dana and came over and said, yep, we have such a great relationship with John and Dana, and Layci, we're willing to give this a shot and to trust you and the rest of your team. And so we've had that dynamic of coming together, and it's been good and mostly smooth, and definitely have made a few errors. Thank you, Collective First Runs, for your extreme patience. We're really forming this group of these like-minded individuals, and they have agreed to go through HHART-first certification. So not only is it just, oh yeah, the alignment's there, there's actually a process to get certified by us. So it is a seamless delivery. We have unified language concepts. The underpinning of HHART-first is there so that the client is getting a very consistent, smooth experience. They're not necessarily going to see all of the back of the embroidery, right?
Sure.
They're not going to see the back.
Right.
They're going to see the front. And then it's the back where we're putting all those pieces together. But it really will help all of us to extend our reach and all of us to move this shared mission and vision forward.
Absolutely.
I just talked a lot, Mary.
No.
I lectured at you. I'm sorry.
It's totally fine. It's a lot to cover. To describe something like the collective is a lot to explain. So it's completely understandable. So we see there's a great benefit for the instructors. Their work is protected. There's an alignment of core values there. They go through the HHART-first certification to deepen that alignment.
Mm-hmm.
That's really beneficial for them as an instructor. Let's talk about how does this benefit the clients?
Yeah. One of the things that we learn working with clients is it's very difficult when they have all this siloed, they're trying to break down silos all the time, but then they have all this expertise that comes in and it's very siloed. They're hiring, let's say, 4 different consulting organizations to come in a year, and all 4 have their own language. Instead of breaking down silos, what is unintentionally happening is it's thickening the walls because now they're getting training that's completely disjointed.
Yeah.
And the trainers don't even necessarily know that the other part of the organization is even getting this training. And sometimes the messaging can even be contradictory in approach if there hasn't been a macro level discussion of overarching what is our approach? What is our people-centric approach? Do we have one?
Right.
The benefit for the client, besides all of the vetting on the back end that we do and putting our stamp on it and all of that, the benefit really is you get a unified training group that has multiple different areas of expertise, but they're united with core values. They're going to share a lot of the same lexicon. So when we're using terminology, it's terminology that exists across the entire company. When we say someone has fallen below the line, everyone in the organization is going to know what that means.
Yes.
Because they are all, no matter if we're coming in to talk about finances, that would not be me. Or we've brought somebody to come in and talk about a lean change management or lean process management, Six Sigma. Yes, they're going to be experts in their own right, but the human side of implementation is going to have a shared language and understanding of this is how we do people.
Yeah.
And that is extremely beneficial and powerful for creating a unified culture in an organization.
Yeah, absolutely. That shared language leading to a huge increase of clarity and unified, everyone can get on mission and know exactly what they're doing and what's going to happen next. That sounds great to me. So give us a little sneak peek of what we might expect from the podcast here and there as the continuation of the collective unfolds.
As it unfolds and as we officially certify our first members, we are going to be highlighting them. So in the next bit of time, I won't box us in, but in the next bit of time here, keep your eyes and your ears open and we will be highlighting HHART-first certified members of the collective on the podcast. So you can get to know them, get to know their areas of expertise. We can even talk a little bit more about how this collective, from their perspective, what do you like? What do you hate? I'm really open to them publicly sharing what they don't like as well. I'm okay with that. It's part of being a leader.
Yeah.
So having those great discussions and most importantly, us coming together and going, how is what they're delivering benefiting the people that they're serving? And let's dig into the people side. And of course, their confessions, because we all have to come on with a confession, right?
Yep, you have to.
Yeah, no one would want to be part of this collective if they weren't willing to talk about their confessions.
Right.
So
yes,
they have to come in ready to go. And yeah, it's going to be fun. We're definitely getting some amazing interest as well. And we may have to put that little HHART-first logo next to past guests that have come onto the collective since they've been guests on the podcast.
That's right.
So that starts to come together. As well.
Yeah, it's been really exciting just seeing how it's kind of grown and taken shape in people sharing such an interest. And if you, listener, if this resonates with you, well, just reach out to us and we can chat more about the collective and even just on an informational level, connect and share a little bit more about that.
Yes. If it's not already up, when you're listening to this, it will be very shortly. There will be a tab on our website at the top where you can go check out more info about the collective for yourself. By the time this goes live, it may be ready for you. But if you go there and it's not there, set a reminder to go back because real quick, it'll be ready to go.
Awesome. That sounds fantastic. Well, Layci, if you would see us out today, I appreciated your time and going over what the heck is the collective and what does it take to be in the collective. So thank you for your time.
Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening to Mary and I chit chat about this. And until next time, go manage like a leader.
Thanks for being part of this community of revolutionary leaders who believe honest communication, healthy conflict, and building cultures of acceptance, respect, and trust are not only possible, but non-negotiable for cultivating world-class teams. If one-to-one coaching, engaging workshops, or strategic planning that is actually useful are anything that interests you, make sure to head over to transcendleadershipcollective.com to check out our free resources. Confessions of a Terrible Leader is hosted by Layci Nelson and produced by Mary Scott. Music is by Leif Olson and Mary Scott from the band The Number of Months. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave us a review. And until next time, go manage like a leader.